AFRA is the International Center for Black Women's Perspectives. It is an organization of black women from all over the world with headquarters in Vienna, Austria. One of the highlights of AFRA's activities so far has been the initiation of the first Black European Women's Congress, which took place in Vienna 2007, and led to the launching of the Black European Women's Internet portal, BURNET, and the creation of the Black European Women's Council.
The first Black European Women's Congress took place from the 26th till the 29th September 2007 in Vienna. The Congress was organized in the European Year of Equal Opportunities for All. One of the aims of the Congress was the meeting of each other, sharing information on issues Black European women have to face in the EU today.
It gives me big pleasure that our issues are being taken seriously and that they are being taken into the parliament.
It's nearly not possible to get asylum in Austria anymore. I say this in full consciousness of the consequences. I think we have to do a new asylum seeker legislation.
For example, we have women with Turkish immigration background on regional level who are Austrian citizens. But until now, there are no colored women represented at all, as far as I know. That means this matter should be concerned.
There is a culture within the political parties that exclude black women.
One also very important way to deal with racism as at state level or European level would be to have very strictly enforced anti-racial discrimination laws.
We need punishment, we need sanctions, and these sanctions have to be made public. If the sanctions are there and the public doesn't know that people are being sanctioned for certain crimes, of course, many people will continue to perpetrate them.
The rest of the participants from various EU countries arrived very early in the morning and couldn't wait to see their sisters and for the Congress to finally begin.
I think it's very important. Again, as black women, we play a key role in bringing up children, socializing them, and also giving support, to black men who also go through difficult times because they are black men. So, I think it's very important that we get together, share our experiences, and again, develop, I hope, a platform for actions, on a global level.
It's my single pleasure to welcome all of you here to the first Black European Women's Congress.
I will try to name the problem by its name. We are talking here about racism and discrimination.
Monday I was in Warsaw, Tuesday I was in Brussels, and it's great to be here. And it's wonderful not to be a minority, either in the case of gender or in the case of race. Fantastic.
To be a role model, it is a big responsibility because, we're all human. You don't want to let people down. But on the other hand, the positive is it's quite nice to think that you can motivate people to continue the very good work that they're doing.
If you should go to Eurostat and you say to them, how many women are in the EU? What proportion they make in the EU population? They will come back to you right away. If you say to them, well, how many black women are EU citizens? What proportion are there in the EU? What proportion are there of women? They cannot answer. They do not have the information.
When they talk about women, they don't talk about black women. If they say women, they think about white women. And the thing is, you can't have equality between women and men if you don't have equality between black and white.
When people are discriminated, they just can get help when they know what about their rights.
The fundamental rights of the people of the European Union are based on the Article 13 of the European Treaty. It's not allowed any discrimination in the case of races, religion, sex, sexual orientation.
The Vienna Social Democrats and Sandra Frauenberger as Executive City Councillor in general have repeatedly and explicitly demanded a reform of the current Immigration Act.
During the first day of the Congress, the children had to take a break. while the mothers were debating on the black children's future in the European Union.
We often behave like inferior people because we've been convinced that we are inferior people. We should push for multiculturalism, which is the coexistence of different cultures within the same space.
3 years ago, I published my first book titled Reine d'Afrique, héroïne de la diaspora noire. That can be translated by Queen of Africa. The German translation of my book, published in this year by a German publisher, Peter Hammer Verlag. They took my book, they keep my name, they keep the title of my book, and they write everything false in my book. They cut 80% of what I've written.
We collect data. Go out there, write down your testimonies, write down your experiences, put your epistemologies together, collect the data so that our children's children are not reinventing our existence.
When I came to Austria, I realized that if I don't fight to get my rights, no one will give me my rights. No people give away privileges just free like that. So we have to fight to get privileges, to get rights, and this is the reason why I chose to fight for the cause of black women.
On the second day of the Congress, working groups were organized, for registered participants only, in this case black women. The others had to make space to let the women operate by themselves.
Leah Sempai Mtawi, and I'm from Sweden, originally from Uganda.
My name is Marisa Lobo. I'm originally from Brazil.
I'm originally of Afro-Caribbean American descent. I came to Germany over 20 years ago.
Originally from Cameroon. I live in Dortmund, Germany.
Educational tools for empowerment and participation and decision-making for women.
The research on negative impact of racism to be included in nationally accessible databases.
We decided to put down a recommendation for affirmative actions.
We, as black women, face not only racism, we are constantly dealing with what we are not.
That we lack our own people, that we can say, oh, Salome is a doctor, or somebody else is a lawyer, that we have them in our own countries.
In their identity of some sexual orientation, but more importantly, honesty. Honesty with ourselves.
We need to understand the power of our visibility. We are different, and there's something to be said to being the only one. It's a burden sometimes, but it is also a tremendous access to other things.
We want to use this blackness that has been so negative. We want to use it positively.
We, as representatives of organizations, it's black women's organizations across Europe that join together in this umbrella body.
On the last day of the Congress, the Vienna Declaration has been made. The pressure was high, the time due. It was all up to these women to bring out their final results.
No, then we can see if there is need for the discussion.
So we are going to move to the third recommendation, or the third demand recommendation.
Black women doesn't define us.
You usually have to follow a policy line. And that is a fact of life. If you join a political party, you may agree with 90% of what's said. 10% you may not agree with. But once it's been agreed by majority, you go by the majority. Even here at this Congress, there were some difficult issues that we discussed and we put it to the vote. Yeah, but once the vote has passed, whatever your position is, you go, you follow the line.
If we succeed to adopt a Vienna Declaration and to set up the network, we're going to create more space. And I think in that space, we can discuss exchange and take more time to get in detail to satisfy everybody, hopefully.
Do we have a copy, or are we going to have a copy in German?
Yeah.
The final results were brought to paper. A success for the European black women.
We succeeded within a few days, 2.5 days, to come up with a very powerful Vienna Declaration, which is a historical document, and to set up a network. And the biggest challenge is going to be how to make this network functional. And I think we have ideas.
Well, I'm going to take back the fact that, there was this European Black Women Congress here, and it managed to attract women from 16 member states. And I'm not going to say, 2 or 3 countries, because they will think, France, Netherlands, and UK. And I said, no, 16 member states. And that's going to be a very, very strong message to take back. And I would say, they've issued a declaration. And I think, they are, they'll not be pleased, but they are going to be surprised. They are going to be very surprised.
Come join the network and let us know about your about your qualities, because that's what we need. And sometimes, it's not necessary that you have to be a very big scholar, because all of us, we are building a new way for black people in Europe and for the European society.
Finally together and fighting for equal opportunities for all. The first Black European Women's Congress, 2007.
The next step after the Vienna Congress was the strategic follow-up meeting of the Black European Women's Council, which took place in March 2008 in Vienna.
Very welcome here on behalf of both the European Parliament Information Office and the European Commission representation. It is a pleasure for us to have you here in Vienna.
It's the year 2008. It's actually the European Year for Intercultural Dialogue. And so it's the perfect opportunity to launch such an organization. There's a lot to talk about equality and anti-discrimination and the rights of European citizens, which is fantastic. And there's also a lot to talk about when we bring in policies. Policymakers need to understand as well that when you have multiple discrimination, so when the intersection, say, of gender and race, there may be needs that there are needs that are specific to those groups who face multiple discrimination.
Because the visible color difference, it automatically brings different sets of rules in your life, whether you like to admit that or not.
We have a program to organize a concert to present the Black European Network in Rome, and after to contact the African women's reality over in Italy. So the program is very important.
TIA has spread the information to all black organizations that are connected with TIA, but also with other organizations, black organizations that are not connected with TIA, but we know their existence and they are very interested in what's happening with black Europeans.
America has a large immigrant population. I mean, America is built on immigration. But even recently, we hear in the press about immigrant Mexicans, even Muslims. So the issues are very similar. I think where the difference comes in is in how we deal with them. I think that Americans are much more open, and we have the dialogue, we're also more accepting as well.
The Black European, I found amongst Greeks, some of the ones that I had this discussion with, and even the ones that I thought were most enlightened, they sort of felt like, well, wait a minute, why do you want to put up these barriers, or why do you want to, don't you think that's an isolating type of term? And I said, no, I don't. I don't think it's an isolating term, because I think that there's definite things that go along with being a black person, period. Yeah. Wherever you are, Black American, Black European.
If you look at Vienna, almost 20% of the population is foreign immigrant status. So they are not excluded, they are actually a part of the picture. So a lot of this was making people aware of how much diversity is important to Austria in European society. We had speakers who spoke to the areas from an NGO perspective, from the press perspective. I myself am a management consultant and deal with this with multinational companies and with large enterprises, government agencies, primarily in the US and Europe. So we really had to impress upon people that if you don't think diversity and diversity management are important, the numbers and the population said it's not only important, it's a necessity, and it has to happen now.
Right from our conception of the conference, Black European women doesn't mean people who have the European nationality. It doesn't mean just those Black women who are married to European, those Black women who are born in Europe. No, it's for me personally, every Black woman, no matter whether you have the nationality, no whether you're an asylum seeker, is any Black woman living in Europe. Black Europe, you know.
We came together to form an umbrella body in Europe that will be representing the interests of Black women. And it involved, well, agreeing on what the name of the organization should be, what the purpose of the organization should be, what its objectives should be, what the membership should look like, you know, the legal basis of the organization, that, you know, and even where the organization should be located.
I realize personally that most of the issues that are faced by the women are almost similar, even though we are from different backgrounds, different countries, different culture. But if this document gets through to the Parliament and represent the issue that we were tackling, I think it will have a lot of women-led organization within the world.
For more information on the activities of the Black European Women's Council, visit www.bönet.eu. Before we begin with the official launching ceremony, I would love to invite everyone to get involved. Welcome on board, and thank you.